Assalamu alaikum students. Hope you all will be fine and enjoying Ramadan in best of your health. I think everyone is fasting and having a very good timing during the Ramadan. So before starting this lesson, I would like to advise you few tips that you must stay home and take care of your hygiene and do a lot of prayer and do istighfar in this holy month of Ramadan so that we can get rid of this COVID-19. Now start with the formal lesson C2 week number 7 from 18 May 2020 to 22nd May 2020. The topic for this week is support and movement in humans. In this chapter we will discuss the topic during the week: need of support, human skeleton, functions of skeleton, types of skeleton, main bones of forelimbs and hind limbs, joints and their types. So as the name indicates from this chapter, that support and locomotion and movement. But what do you learn from this chapter? By the end of the lessons, you will be able to identify the mains of forelimbs, which are humerus, radius, ulna and scapula of mammal. These are included in your syllabus. Then state functions of human skeleton. You are able to define joints, describe functions of joints, and you will be able to describe the types of movement permitted by the ball and socket joint and the hinge joints of the forelimbs. Let's start with the formal lesson. Need of support. Why the human body needs support. All multicellular organisms which have greater size need support to keep their body mass as one unit. In humans, skeleton is responsible for support and movement. Now movement. We generally use this term as the act of changing place or position by entire body or by the parts of the body. Now, scientifically speaking, there is two types of movement: movement of the body parts and locomotion. Movement of body as a whole from one place to another place is called locomotion. So there are two types of movement in the human body: movement of body parts and locomotion. Then human skeleton. What is meant by skeleton? It is a framework of bone that provides physical support and protection to human body. Types of skeleton. There are two types of skeleton: endoskeleton and exoskeleton. Endoskeleton present on inside the body, like in vertebrates, and humans are also included in vertebrates. They have vertebral column and proper bony framework inside the body. Therefore, they have endoskeleton. Exoskeleton means the skeleton which is present outside the body. The group of animal which comes under arthropods, mostly the 6 legs consisting of insects, having soft layer of bones or cartilage outside the body, which is called exoskeleton. Functions of the skeleton. There are many functions of the skeleton, but here we will discuss only the main functions, main 4 functions of the skeleton. The number 1, protection of internal organs. The main function of the skeleton is to protect the internal organ. The brain is protected by the skull. The vertebrae is protected by the spinal cord, and the ribs and breastbone, which is also called sternum, protects the lungs and heart, and pelvis shields the reproductive organ. Pelvis is present in the lower portion of the body. Hip bones are actually called pelvis. Manufacture of the blood is the second function of the skeleton. Red and white blood cells are made in the bone marrow. Red bone marrow is responsible for making red and white blood cells, which is also another function of the skeleton. Number 3, supporting the body. The skeleton works with muscles which are attached to it to produce movement, and many bones of the skeleton act as levers which can produce movement. Now, number 4 function of the skeleton is movement and locomotion. Movement, the ability to move from one place to another place is movement, as I have told you earlier as well. Now, support is support. How the skeleton provides us support? That it holds the body off the ground. It keeps its shape even when muscles are contracting to produce energy. Now the skeleton itself is divided into two parts, axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton. Now the parts of the axial skeleton, there are four main parts: skull, vertebral column, ribs and sternum. Skull, as you know, in which brain is included, vertebral column in which spinal cord is included. There are three vertebrae present in the adult human. Cervical region means head region. It is head region after and head region, and the space between the thoracic region is called cervical region. It is made up of 7 bones. Then thoracical region, which comes after this, and it is the middle part of the vertebral column, and it is consisting of 12 bones. Then lumbar region, which is the last part of the vertebral column, and it is consisting of 5 bones. And then caudal and psychogial region, which is the last part of the bone. Then comes ribs, which covers the front part of the body, and it is present in the chest region. And then comes sternum, the middle bone present, which holds or which joins the ribs, is called sternum. As you can see in this diagram. Then come appendicular skeleton. Appendicular skeleton is consisting of forelimbs and hind limbs. Forelimbs mean upper arms and hind limb means lower arms or lower legs. Now the bones which are present in the forelimbs or upper arms, they are humerus. Humerus is the bone of upper arm. Then radius, lower arm bone. Ulna, elbow bone. Scapula, which is a shoulder blade into which humerus fit into. Clavicle is a collarbone, wrist bone, and then comes finger. Pelvis. Pelvis is the region in the hind limbs, and it is actually hip bone. Then femur, thigh bones, kneecap, tibia and fibula, 2 bones are present in the lower leg. And trapezius is the name of the ankle bone, and then come the. If you can see in this skeleton, you are very clear about the sternum, which is breastbone, shoulder blade into which humerus is fit, upper arm bone. Then comes hip girdle, which is pelvis, fingers, wrist bone is clear to you, ulna and radius is clear to you. Then kneecap, tibia, fibula, ankle bone and foot bone. In this skeleton you can easily identify the bones of the hind limb and forelimbs. Why I am discussing only bones of the hind limbs and forelimbs? Only the bones of the forelimbs are included in this syllabus, so we are discussing only that part which is included in your syllabus according to CII. Now let's move towards joints. Definition of joint is a location at which 2 or more bones make contact or make a combination. Number 2, it is constructed. Why joint is constructed? It is constructed to allow movement and mechanical support. The joint, then there are different types of joints in the human body. Fixed joint, example is skull and pelvis. Then partially movable joints, which produce a little movement or a slight movement, or movement on only backward and forward movement, or very little movement, like the vertebrae of the vertebral column. Then the third type of joint is movable joint, which are also termed as synovial joints. Synovial joints or movable joints are of 2 types: ball and socket joints and hinge joints. They produce a movement, and it is being very visible and obvious from the moving part of the body. Most movement occurs at the synovial joint. Then there is another term which is used and which is linked with the movement of the synovial joint is articulation. The structure of the synovial joint is adapted to produce movement of bones relative to each other, and this is called articulation. It means that synovial joints are made, or they are positioned in the way that they produce the movement of the bones against each other, and this term is called articulation. Now we will discuss the 2 very important joints present in the synovial joints. One is ball and socket joint and the other is hinge joint. Ball and socket joint is found in the hip bone and shoulder bone. If you can see in the diagram, the humerus is the upper arm bone is fixed into the scapula, which is the shoulder bone. The end of the humerus is just like a ball and it fits into this rounded portion which is hollow from inside scapula, and it is not fixed rigidly or stiffly so that it is not fixed rigidly that it cannot move. This ball like shape of the humerus is fit like it can move in 360 degree centigrade easily, as it is shaped like ball and scapular shape is like a socket. Therefore it is called a ball and socket joint, and it will produce movement in all direction. As you can see in the diagram is shown that it is producing the movement in the 3D direction or in the 360 degree direction. Then comes hinge joint. Hinge joint is found in the elbow and knee. If you can see that elbow and knee joint, that ulna of the lower bone is attached with the lower end of the humerus, and they make the elbow joint, which is called hinge joint. In the same way, the thigh bone, which is femur, and the tibia is attached with one another in the kneecap, and they are making the knee joint. Why it is called hinge joint? Because it is like the hinge of the door. If you can see the door that your home in the door of the room, that it is fixed from the hinge at one point and from the other point it is free, so that it can move the in two directions. It can move back and forth. In the same way, hinge joint in the human body, in the elbow and in the knee, they can produce a movement in the back and forth. Therefore it is compared with the hinge of the door, which produce movement in two directions or only in one direction, that means only backward and forward. Now this is the detailed structure of the synovial joints, the joints which we have discussed in the previous slide, that is ball and socket joint and hinge joint, how these joints are made and what are the parts of this joint. The movement at joint could cause friction. The synovial joint is adapted to reduce friction. How? You can see there is a bone, upper bone and the lower bone. We can take it as a humerus bone and the ball and socket and the scapula bone. There are present a fine strands of thread-like structure which are called ligaments, which hold two bones at the joint together. Then cartilage, it is made up of soft connective or elastic tissues which are acting as a shock absorber. And then there is a present liquid between these two bones where joint is made, and this liquid is called synovial fluid, which is helping in reducing the friction and which keep the joint lubricated. Then there is a membrane present around the joints, that is synovium or synovial membrane. In this slide you can see that synovial joint, the part of the joints are also being described here. Cartilage is a cover end of bone. It is consisting of smooth and elastic tissues and act as a shock absorber and stops the two bones from rubbing each other. Synovial membrane encloses the joint and secretes synovial fluid. Synovial fluid serves to lubricate the joint and makes movement easy. So it reduces the friction. Ligaments, they are tough elastic strands that holds two bones together at joint and prevent dislocation. Now I think at the end of the chapter we can do the recap view that I have made myself clear, and you are able to identify the main bones of the forelimbs, humerus, radius and ulna and scapula, and you are now able to describe the function of the skeleton. There are four functions of the skeleton which we have discussed: protection and producing the movement, providing the support and production of the red blood cells. You are able to define the joint, the point at which two bones meet. Then you are able to describe the functions of joint. There are basically three types of joint: fixed joint, partially movable joints and movable joints, which are also termed as synovial joints. Now you are able to describe the types of movement permitted by ball and socket joints. As I have told you and explained you that ball and socket joints are freely moving joints and they can produce some movement in all direction or at 360 degrees centigrade. And a hinge joint is are the joints present in the knee and elbow portion of the human skeleton, and they are producing the movement in one direction only, backward and forward, like the hinge of the door. I hope you have understood. If you have any query, I will make a separate group of biology. You can discuss your queries over there as well. Thank you so very much. Take care of yourself and stay home and stay safe.